done stripped the bolts on him. Shoulda never sent him to pick up the work for me. Sprayed the park and had my shit inside the car. Marcus Smart Boy was shooting with a 36 on him. Said if he wasn't in the rush, they was all goners.
All right. Greetings, Chudlings. Welcome to another episode of Chuddy's Corner. It is Wednesday, February 26th, officially February 26th. Not like I predicted it a few episodes back, a little prematurely, but it does eventually come to, the Celtics go to Detroit tonight. They get, kind of beaten around by the Pistons, 117-97. Obviously, second night of a back-to-back. Pistons are red hot as piss. But had lost 12 straight to the Celtics. This was, I feel like this is one of those games, Chud, where, I think we're kind of in a post, if this was last year, I would think this kind of world, but this was last year. I think this whole episode would be about the Celtics, but I think, honestly, this is way more about the Pistons. What a fun team, a fast team. They play defense, they shoot well. This sucked to get our asses kicked, but is it weird to say it was kind of still enjoyable, watching the game? I don't know. We were getting our asses kicked, but I don't know. I liked what I saw from the Pistons. As just a hoop fan.
I generally do like watching the opponents, and I mean, especially when the Celtics are like this, you can almost glean more usually from watching the other teams than us. And, there's the obvious downside to getting everyone's best shot, but it is kind of cool sometimes to see everyone's best shot. A team like the Pistons, who I'm sure a lot of Celtics fans haven't exactly been watching closely. And tonight, you saw another team that I think this was kind of their welcome to the show moment. They've been getting some credit quietly and in NBA circles, but I think all casual fans who maybe aren't keeping track and just think of oh, they're the Pistons, whatever. Now they've got this 8-game winning streak, and you see them kind of punching the Celtics in the face like that. It's oh, okay. See you.
I think a lot of people who don't follow the NBA wouldn't even think the Pistons were in the playoffs, let alone the 6th seed.
Right. And the 6th, I mean, I think with that win, they're tied for the 5th seed in a half game out of the 4th seed. They keep playing like this, they're going to be the 4th seed, no doubt. So it's a good team. And you saw really the best version of it tonight. Now, obviously, some stuff that has to be said. No Jalen in a matchup where, man, talk about missing him. Probably our best athlete against the team full of young athletes and strong dudes. No Luke, unironically, a pretty big deal. Some brutal Kata minutes. Porzingis didn't have a great game and had some foul trouble. And Luke's just been crushing it lately. And we
missed the hell out of Luke tonight.
In the paint and on the boards. Could have used him. So obviously no excuses when, missing Cornette and Brown to play like that. But second night of a back-to-back, and you could kind of just see it. The legs weren't there. I think we were trying to get through this game without full energy, as we kind of did last night. We talked about Clancy and I, how last night seemed like it was the Celtics messing around and seeing how little energy they could give and still win.
Yeah.
Which is fine. That's kind of what we want almost at this point. It seemed like they approached tonight's game with that same attitude, and the Pistons were just no, we are punching you in the mouth from the word go. They were fired up, the crowd was fired up, and they played
Jalen Rose courtside. As soon as I saw Jalen Rose courtside, I go, there's something special going on inside the
good scene.
What is it? The Little Caesars arena.
Yeah.
There's gods in that arena tonight.
It was cool.
It was funny because the place was half full, but when they were going on that run, it was absolutely rocking. Yeah, exactly. They would show outside shot and be wow, it's kind of crazy. But that probably would have made that even so much more fun if you were there for that game. So the crowd, the Pistons, the team, and the crowd were just so into that game. Again, it was one of those things where it's hard to you're almost happy for them. But yeah, we did get it. Didn't play great. That second quarter, we shot the ball lights out, but that was the most unsustainable way of living.
The great shooting
chart was absolutely insane.
The great shooting basically just masked everything else, where they were basically just dominating us from the jump. And again, you could just tell they had just so much more energy, so much more commitment. I mean, the way they were playing defense, just an incredible.
Haven't they had 2 nights off too? Isn't that worth noting?
Yeah. I mean, again, they're well rested. We're on the second night of a back-to-back on the road, missing a couple guys who came back. I mean, Porzingis, with being scratched last night, leads me to believe it wasn't just completely resting. So maybe he was still sick or whatever. He didn't look great. Had a tough game. Tough matchup with Tobias Harris, seemingly too.
How about Tobias Harris looking
Yeah, but everyone on the Pistons. All right, like, should we do the Pistons thing now? You obviously know I'd love to talk about them, but I mean,
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
they're good. Like they're not.
Talk. Finish what you say about the Celtics, and then we'll talk Pistons.
No, well, just I mean, brutal night by Holiday. Where again, we've talked about at this point. Like, I don't even really need to see it from Drew. I just know what I'm going to get. But tonight, we could have used him, and he just was not great. Couldn't make a shot. Tatum was solid as he always is, but just didn't have that kind of like extra gear to ever take over. Sloppy, a lot of turnovers. And again, a lot of guys on their team who were just playing really hard and playing really well and locked in. And if it wasn't for that one shooting stretch, I mean, I think we would have pulled the starters at halftime. Yeah. And like I said, it's kind of like a trickle down effect where you have no JB. That means Walsh is getting minutes. Tough spot for Walsh to be thrown into. Hauser was okay, but I mean, again, a tough matchup against all those big, strong, athletic wings. Not ideal for Hauser. Yes, obviously, and then you just saw a weird Porzingis game too. Like I said, just didn't really have it from the jump.
He didn't look right. He got in foul trouble too. But there was some points where I was in the third quarter. I was kind of wondering why wasn't he out there? It felt like he didn't play a lot in the third quarter. So could be something like you said, some kind of sickness or whatever. But
yeah, maybe it wasn't 100%. Felt like almost just like a scheduled loss. Looking all things considered, like not a big deal. Yeah. Big game obviously coming up on Friday against the Cavaliers. A bunch of big games coming up. Got the win last night. Importantly, so split these games and whatever. Like we've had this nice little run lately where now we can afford to drop a game like this, and it's no big deal. It's like they've shown me what I want to see lately. You can tell obviously this game meant a lot more to the Pistons, a lot more fired up. Also, sucks too, just like I was making fun of it on Twitter, but it does genuinely suck that the national televised game at the same exact time was Sixers Knicks. Like the Pistons deserve to have this be like the ESPN national coming out party kind of for them. And it's
that would have been great for them.
I don't know why
that game,
the NBA can't
sick though.
Flex out. It is actually a way better, like more competitive game, but it's just like, all right.
It would have been nice for the Pistons to get that shine. And
it deserves. I mean, that was the game of the night. It was a marquee matchup again. A team that's about a 7-game winning streak a 6-game winning streak versus a 7-game winning streak.
Yeah,
defending champs versus like these up and coming hot shots who are about to move into the 4 seed, maybe. Just like clearly the best game on the slate, and I just don't get why they can't change these things. And that's another thing. I mean, they've talked about all these problems with like the production and the broadcast of the NBA. And that's one thing. Like where you have 4 games starting at once, why is it hard to like flex them? Like it's not like there's any time recently where you'd want to see this Philly team on national TV right now. So just silly. And like
you could have known months in advance that this Philly team was not going to be national.
It's not like
television.
a Monday Night Football thing where the time is changing and you have to like play a different day and you're selling tickets for like a night game versus day games. Like both these games are starting at 7 on the East Coast. I don't know, whatever, just crazy. But that's really just an aside.
I think we should also mention too, like Luke Cornett. They're gonna miss we missed that guy big time. It says personal reasons, so I hope everything's all right with Luke. But
yeah, he missed last night too.
Like Kada, it's kind of crazy to think in like a past time that there was like this Kada Cornett almost like I think Cornett had the inside track on it, but it was almost like this. Oh, who should be playing more? I don't know if that is something that motivated Cornett or not. I was thinking about that today, just watching Kada. Like, did Cornett take a huge leap, or did Kada kind of taking a step back? I think it's obviously a little bit more of the Cornett stuff, but I think if anyone is like secured the importance of the team, a game like time, we got out rebounded. I don't even know by how much. At least by more than 10.
Double. No, it was like 50 to 30 almost, or like something like
Jesus
that. It was
Christ.
It was a huge margin, dominated. And again, just nothing great, really.
Let's do a little bit.
Good.
Let's do it because exactly. This is like I said. This is one of those things. Last season would have been like, what the fuck? But like this season, whatever. Hats off to the Pistons. So let's talk a little bit about the Pistons.
Just tell they didn't have it. Been a tough schedule, tough road game against a good team, and the Pistons. I mean, shit, they came out. You saw how good Cade Cunningham has been playing this season. Like he's really taking that leap. He's almost definitely going to win Most Improved Player, which we've talked about, kind of my issue with that award. But I mean, it's impossible to argue with his improvement. He's amazing now. He's truly playing like one of the best guys in the league, and the way he's completely controlling games is super fun to watch. And so much of this team has just been like cleaning up the margins. Because I think Cade has taken a huge jump, but I think a part of it is last year they just like did not have serious role players around him who were good and made any sense. And they had a coach who seemingly was just committing fraud and stealing the team's money and had no desire to coach that team. By bringing in JB Bickerstaff, who's done an amazing job, he's probably will come in second, but has a great case to win Coach of the Year. I mean, truly turning around a 14-win team last season that had a 28-game losing streak or something like that. The next year to be like,
I forgot about that huge losing streak.
Yeah,
that was electric.
That was not that long ago. It was last season. Changed and like not wholesale changes. Again, just like some really smart moves on the margin. Bringing in Malik Beasley, who we saw how good he was tonight, and he's having an amazing year. He had an amazing game.
He led the whole charge with that arena going absolutely nuts. The way he was dancing and shit.
I mean, it
was cracking me up. It was hard to, again, like be mad, but also I was just cracking up at how fired up he was getting. The way like him and Jalen Rose were interacting, it was just a hilarious scene. You have to admit, right?
Oh, no doubt about it.
I feel like you're looking at me like, what am I talking about? No. I did see that, right?
No, I have no animosity towards the Pistons and the situation at all. It was like you said, it was fun to watch. It was enjoyable, and it was like all like good for them type of feelings. But I mean, again, it's just I think part of last year this team had no floor spacing, no shooters at all, and just by bringing in a guy like Beasley, who's good, he's having probably his best season. But I think so much of that is the role that they just needed so desperately, a guy to play off Cade, to space the floor, to have the greenest of lights. Like it's a perfect situation for him and a perfect situation for them, and he's just absolutely crushing the role. He's honestly, it's him and Peyton Pritchard for 6th man of the year, the two favorites for sure.
Yeah,
you saw why. I mean, Beasley comes off the bench and he was their leading scorer. He was amazing. I mean, Cade had the 21 and 11. He was really good. Osar Thompson, anyone who's listened to the pod knows how much I've talked about Amen Thompson, his twin. Osar has been a little under the radar.
I wasn't sure which one. I couldn't remember which one was the one that you always talked about, but.
So it's Amen, but it's really more just he's further along because he's been healthy and on a competent team that's relevant. Whereas last year, Monty Williams, like I just said, one of the all-time worst coaching jobs, and it just becomes more glaring by the day how bad it was. But didn't play any of the young players, was playing Killian Hayes, who's, I think, I mean, he just signed a 10-day, but he was playing Killian Hayes over like Jaden Ivey and Osar Thompson and these guys. It's like, what are you doing? And Osar Thompson had a blood clot issue, much like what Wemby has now, so missed a bunch of time to get healthy. He just hasn't played as much. But I mean, you saw tonight, he's been a big part of their kind of all season coming along, but especially lately, these last few weeks, he's been like a huge part of it. And you can just see why. I mean, amazing defensive player. He had 5 steals. It felt like he could have had 10. He was getting his hands on everything, just playing incredible defense. Amazing athlete. I mean, he crossed up Tatum worse than anyone I've ever seen.
Do we want to talk about it, or are we all pretending it didn't happen?
I mean, it's fine. It's what when you play
fucking
badass defense, like sometimes you get beat. It's not a big deal. And I mean, Tatum has had 2 of those on his own end with him dribbling in the last 2 nights as well.
Game too, yeah.
But I'm saying, he had one tonight, one last night that were both just as impressive. But it's more Tatum's such a good defender that it's even more like, wow, holy shit, that was a nice move. But he's
I don't think there's any. I think you can't freak out too much about that stuff, but.
Yeah, no, but
people
were
pissed that people were impressed by it.
No, I mean it was impressive. It was super impressive. Like I don't know how to not be impressive. I think Tatum being such a good defender and that he did it to him makes it even that much more impressive again, and that he's not scared to go at him is pretty cool. You can see how good he's going to be, and much like Amen, it's really the shot is like the one piece that's missing. But everyone else, I mean, you could see possessions where Osar's defending his ass off, goes out, gets the rebound, and then just like pushes himself 2 dribbles, and he's up the floor flying at the rim. So it's like
he's
so raw and has like all the skills. And it's like when he just gets polished, my God, he's just what an unbelievable weapon he's going to be next to Cade. And again, Jalen Duren, another guy who everyone wrote off as like a total waste, but that guy is a freak. He's so big. He's so strong. He's so athletic. He's starting to put it together well and has become like a good rim rolling threat for Cade, but he's just a fucking monster. So, I mean, that was another high draft pick who's taken a little while and was just Monty Williams. Was like basically they wasted a year of everyone's development by the Monty Williams situation. Bickerstaff, kudos to him. You saw all the guys playing really well. I mean, Tim Hardaway Jr. and Tobias were other guys who it's like they signed them in free agency and nobody was, writing that they were going to win it all.
I couldn't believe Tobias Harris. Like I was, who is this guy?
But it's just really like that's who he is. He's a solid, reliable professional who's durable.
So was it just in Philly that they just were like, why aren't you playing like a?
He was just overpaid.
Yeah.
Like it's not that he was ever bad. It was just that he wasn't better. Like they were paying him like an all-star, and he's a solid role player. But the
Yeah.
Pistons need that. Like, for the Pistons, they're
Well,
like,
yeah,
for
he
the love
was-
of God, give us any solid veteran role player, and that's exactly what it is. He's reliable. He always plays. He's solid, like, on both ends. He's like average to good at everything.
Mhm.
And that's like kind of
Yeah.
the thing, and it goes both ways. He like always leaves you desiring more, and he never provides it.
Well, I guess,
but for
yeah,
a
with
team
how much
that's
money
so
he's
used to
making.
having less, it's like, this is great. We have this reliable like role player every game. This is awesome.
Yeah.
And he was really good tonight defending Porzingis. Again, Porzingis looked a little off, but he did a good job, and their whole team did a really good job. Super physical. Definitely one of the more physical defensive games I've seen a team play against the Celtics all season, and be able to pull it off. And even when we were moving it and like pressuring it a little and getting all those threes, they did not adjust. They stuck with it, and it worked. And ultimately, I think that's part of the reason they opened up that big lead, where we were just like, on a night where, again, we were, I think, just trying to flip the switch. We were like, fuck, they're playing way too hard for that to work. So, like, not gonna happen. But again, way more for me about the Pistons. I don't know. I mean, this year we've seen it with lots of young teams where they still need to take their licks in the playoffs, but I think they could absolutely win a series, especially if they get in that 4-5, and those other teams. I mean, the Pacers, the Bucks,
Pacers
like,
or the Bucks, yeah, that'd be great.
winnable.
That'd be so sick for them too. Like, they kind of came out of nowhere. That's obviously like a little bit of a regional rivalry in that area. So
yeah, absolutely. And I think there's still a move to be made, and let's also forget recent top 5 pick Jaden Ivey out for the season, brutal injury. Another guy who was coming along, and the hope when you draft a guy that high and he was looking pretty good is that he's kind of going to be that second guy next to Cade, like creating offense. So, and a guy who can score, another solid defender, a solid athlete, needs to get a little better at shooting, but another like really, really good, promising young player. Ron Holland, you saw even in glimpses. He was their first round pick this year. Super raw, came off the bench, but he played well. And he's another guy. He's just another big freak athletic wing. Like, they have all these raw athletes, and a little bit more polished. And with how polished Cade has become now, he kind of like creates everything. You can see how important he is and how much he's the straw that stirs the drink and kind of makes it happen. But he's putting those other guys, and along with Bickerstaff, the coach, is putting all of those guys in position to just maximize what they're good at, and that's it. And you see it's working really well. And for the most part, these guys have a lot more upside too. So feels like Detroit basketball is back, and it's pretty cool.
I was going to let you just go there. I wasn't sure how to jump in.
I can keep going, and I'm happy to, but I think the takeaway of the night is like, they're back, and they're going to be a fun team for a while.
Let's just talk like some regular humans for a moment. That was like almost for sure. But that was like we asked the Chat GPT to tell us like about the Pistons. Chud GPT, yeah. Oh yeah, Chud GPT. That's perfect. Yeah, it's like, tell us a little bit about the Pistons, and just boom. There it went.
Yeah. Well,
but no, I mean,
I'm fired up about them. If you can't tell.
Yeah, no, exactly. And it is. It's a fun team. It's a team that I know that if we played them in the playoffs, I would end up fucking hating them so much by the end of it.
Probably beat them 4-1.
Yeah, but exactly. But that one game they beat us,
You'd leave respecting them. You'd be like, touche.
Yeah.
But
by
the other
end
thing,
of it, yeah.
But also to pump the brakes a little on the Pistons party is like, when you're a young team starting to build, this is like probably the most enjoyable time as a fan, when you have no expectations, but suddenly you're like overachieving and you're like, holy shit, are we like good? And it just feels
Jalen
like
and Tatum's
good times are gonna
years,
roll. Yeah. But just remember, there's like usually always that kind of speed bump and that hiccup, and it's not, the progression isn't always like linear. There's probably going to be some setbacks, and it's going to take them longer than they're maybe thinking now. So enjoy this time because next year there will be expectations, and then it's hard to kind of keep moving forward. It's like that last step that's the hardest to make. And it reminds me a little, very different team. It doesn't remind me like stylistically or anything, but it reminds me a little bit of a couple of years ago when we played the Magic, and they were like up and coming, and they would kind of get up and play us, and they're like not afraid of us, and we're like, oh shit, like the Magic are coming, and they still are, but you can see like they've had some struggles, they've had some growing pains. Well, yeah, it hasn't really gotten better, and now like Paolo and Franz are having difficulty playing together. It looks like they might not be a perfect fit. So again, it looked like they were on the rise, going to be contending for years to come, and now it's like maybe not. So again, that once those expectations kick in, and then people think you're going to make that next step from fun, frisky upstart to contender, that's like the toughest jump to make, obviously. So they've nailed everything so far. And I think the next year or two, when they can try to turn those Hardaway Jr., Tobias Harris's, it's like, okay, can one of those guys turn into a star? And not to go too far down the rabbit hole, but things are getting a little murky in Phoenix, and Devin Booker, who I believe is a Flint, Michigan guy, would be a pretty ideal fit. I know he's not your favorite guy, but if you think of him sliding in there, kind of playing the role he did in Team USA as more of a role player, sharpshooter, secondary scorer, kind of playing the way like Kyrie did almost alongside Luka, alongside Cunningham. I think that's like a semi-realistic piece that could really, if they try to make like another aggressive step forward, I think that would be
That's like reminds
fit.
me of like Knicks getting rid of those guys. No.
I think there's a way better.
You just gave away so much
your
edge.
No.
So much of your edge.
I don't think so at all. I think that's a perfect fit. You look at them. What do they need? They need one more scorer. Tim Hardaway Jr. can't be starting.
No one's saying they don't need another scorer. I'm just saying
you bring that guy in,
all your little edge, all that. You think they're gonna push the Celtics around? They did tonight with Devin Booker in the lineup. No way.
I think Booker is not your number one guy. Can work. I don't know.
I'm not even saying he has to be the number one. You're not hearing what I'm saying. I'm saying they just lose the edge that they have right now. Right now they have an edge to them. Like they just kind of pushed us around a bit.
Yeah.
That would not happen if they had Devin Booker.
Yeah, but they would probably be a better team. I don't know.
The edge gets far. Is their goal to just kind of push us around and beat us? Yeah, I guess. All right. Fair.
I'm just saying. He was just a name that kind of came to mind because it seems like the Suns are like he's a star.
I never miss
he's
a
a star who I can
realistically
see moving. And in terms of what he does play style wise, I think he'd be a really good fit in between Cade, especially if you're going to have guys like Osar and Holland who are really good defenders and like athletes, but not so much shooters. You're going to need one more guy who can get a bucket because I think that's going to be the thing in playoffs, in tight games, when teams are throwing everything at Cade. Who are they giving the ball to that's going to make offense? Beasley's a great shooter, but it's not like he's beating guys off the dribble. And again, Ivy's out. There's still hope that Ivy can be that guy. But I think if at the end of this year, they're like, okay, we clearly need an upgrade. I could see them maybe, Ivy, another young guy, a Sasser, a pick or something, and try to get, someone even like Booker. I would have said even maybe like Zach LaVine before he got traded. Someone like that. Just like
I was just trying to
scoring
think of some
option who doesn't need to be like a number one. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe they go bigger than Booker and say, fuck it, Kevin Durant.
Oh shit!
I don't know. We'll see. We're probably getting ahead of ourselves. Maybe wish casting.
Yeah,
doing a little.
Save some of this for around the NBA.
Doing a little Chuddy GMing, but But it's just fun. It's it's exciting to watch.
Give me several potential trade proposals for the Detroit Pistons. Chud GPT.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
What?
Gotta be a shooter.
All right.
I think that's the one thing. A shooting scorer who can play off the ball. And they're really cooking. So.
All right.
I like what they're.
All right. It's enough Pistons dick sucking here. Come on. They just kicked our ass enough.
They earned it. How many teams all year have just whooped the Celtics start to finish? Not many.
No Jalen.
Jalen's
Mark Wahlberg talking about 9/11. If he was there, wouldn't have gone down like that.
No, perhaps not. But hey, I mean, they didn't have Schroeder, so.
All right. Anyway, so let's do the Chuddy Chains here. Let's give out some Chuddy Chains.
No doubt.
All right, Chuddy Chains is brought to you. Chuddy Chains.
Wait, Shay, one more thing I had in my notes that I meant to mention at the end.
What's that?
Scal saying that he has Cade first team All NBA is wild. I love Cade, and I thought it was kind of a hot take that I think I might have him on my second team. He's just straight up saying first team. That's wild. That's just absolutely wild. I respect the wildness, but Scal just gets so fired up.
They got Cade.
Like, one day before we play a team, he just watches film and gets like wicked into them. And then we play them and just like, oh my god, these guys are fucking amazing.
Yeah, that's like that's like me with like historical time periods. I'll read like one thing about it, I'll be like, that period of time was just so interesting. Then it's like, all right, find another one. Like, dude,
yeah, that is certainly Scal. And then the other broadcast note, I was gonna have it around the NBA. We somehow missed it, but Al getting his jersey retired at his high school. And I was glad they explained it tonight. Because I've been wondering how it possibly could have taken this long. It's like, what did he have to prove to his high school that he was like?
What was it?
So they basically just said it was like scheduling on his end, that he's never around while they're playing, and like just like a bunch of things. But they were basically saying like they have been trying to do it for a long ass time, which to me that was the main thing, because it's just like, all right,
that was one of those just great moments of like social media where it's just like, the fuck is Scal or Al's just getting his fucking jersey retired,
right?
Like 40 years after he left high school.
I'm thinking like the high school, like the AD and like the gym teacher, like sitting around the locker room, like, yeah, like he's got those 2 natties, but it's like he needs to get an NBA ring to really to earn that.
They just had like some like AD that Al just kind of like pissed off and he just finally retired. Like, you could finally bring Al home. Like, that guy. I always never knew that guy could live up to it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I guess we can do it. Like, he's finally earned it.
Now that he's won an NBA championship, I think he's really worthy of our Wall of Fame, where we have a kid who did like the high jump.
He was fringe. It's like the MLB like Hall of Fame vote. They have like 8-person panel, and he's just getting like 3 votes every year. Just these old, like wicked old hardos, which is like, nah, like still gotta see it.
Nah. All right.
Glad to hear that's not the case.
No, that is good. That is a good point. All right, this part of Chuddy's Corner is brought to you by Mario's Roofing. Roofing Mario's, siding Mario's, windows Mario's. Just call Mario's. At Mario's, they pride themselves on quality, safety, and value. The big three. They wouldn't do anything to your home that they also wouldn't do to their own. Call Mario's today and ask about their winter specials. Tell them Chuddy's Corner sent you and get $50 off your installation. Some restrictions may apply. The number 781-344-2420, or you can visit mariosroofing.com. Mario's Roofing, they won't soak you in order to keep you warm and dry. Make sure you check out Mario's Roofing. You're getting any work done, windows, siding, all of the above. All right, Chuddy Chain, you can go first tonight, Chud.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm interested. I have one name in mind, but
I'm going to go with the guy we just talked about getting his jersey retired, Al Horford, who obviously had the night off last night, so needed some fresh legs, and you saw it, came out, had a little extra spark, hit a few threes, had 2 steals and a block. Weird night. One of the nights you can tell, one of the biggest ways I think you could tell that the Celtics just clearly like weren't themselves tonight is only 1 block for the entire team. And White and Holiday both starting. Right. Neither one had a steal or a block, which, like, when does that happen?
That's a great stat to look into.
Weird, right? Very weird for a game they both started. But again, I think just speaks to how much better the Pistons played than us, how much we didn't have our edge, and how much we couldn't lock in and get stops. So again, on a night where nobody really played great, I thought Al brought that energy. He had a couple steals. He did have a block. Felt like he was hitting big shots to kind of keep us in it. 10 rebounds for Al too. You don't see him get up to those numbers very often. So on a night where it seemed like nobody was kind of trying to rise to the level of the Pistons, I felt like Al was at least doing that and keeping us in there a little bit. The 38-year-old. So chain him up.
Yeah, I'm gonna give my chain to. I had this one in mind anyway. I was going to do Peyton Pritchard.
That's fair.
He bled for the team tonight.
Yeah,
got whacked in the face. Was bleeding. That I feel like that's something we're going to see him in like 2 days when they play on Friday, and he's going to look like it's going to be awesome. It's just going to be one of those things. It's like, look at Pritchard, such a fucking dog. So he bled for the team. He got that play too where he got knocked down underneath the basket where fucking
Beef Stew
lands on top of him. Like that was like
tough. That was an and one, wasn't it?
They went to go, I think so, yeah. They went to go, like, pick him up, and you saw for a second, like, kind of thing where he's like, no, don't lift me up just yet.
Yeah.
So he's put his body on the line. He had 5 threes also, too. He had 18 points. So yet another, I think they just said it was like his 17th game this season with 5 or more
Celtics
threes.
Record, right?
It's fucking.
I think they said it was
record. That's crazy. Like, but. Yeah, so I'm going to give the mine to Peyton Pritchard. Again, bled for the team. I think I saw that Jordan Walsh might have been bleeding at one point, too, so special, It was
the same time, and they just
anklet.
They didn't really know what was going on, so I couldn't tell if maybe Walsh just had Pritchard's blood on him or if they were just both bleeding. But
well, that's
again,
cool, too.
I think that's another good sign and omen that, the old Pistons basketball is back, baby. You come into Detroit, you're leaving with blood.
The place was rocking. I loved it. It was sick.
It was. It's just good. Just good for basketball.
All right.
Good for and therefore the world.
Yeah. When basketball is thriving, the world is thriving too.
Yeah. Just bad night for the Celtics. Great night for society.
Okay, let's do a little bit of run the NBA.
All right, let's do it.
What do you have for us?
Well, we have, of course, Chuddy's Corner,
who has this
sponsored
for us?
by Nick Perrano Real Estate, the official realtor of Chuddy's Corner, our good friend Nick Perrano. You can visit it, nickperrano.com, the home for all of your real estate needs. I was talking to Nick tonight during the game. He's a a true diehard. He gets pissed the night like tonight. He's probably thinking that's it for the Celtics season. That's how much he's passionate about every single game.
He's
Sometimes to a
he's
fault.
passionate.
Very passionate, but you know what? He's actually even more passionate about real estate. So if you're buying a home, selling a home, even just curious about any part of the home buying process, you got to reach out to Nick. He'll talk you through everything. He'll have the answer to every question. And if he doesn't, he will put you in touch with someone who absolutely does. Really just a great resource to have, a great guy, someone you can rely on, and someone who will guide you through what can be a very challenging process in the real estate world. So again, for any needs, go to the official realtor of Chuddy's Corner. That would be Nick Parano Real Estate at nickparano.com, nickparano.com.
Shout out Nick. All right. What's going on around the NBA for us, Chud?
Things are.
Can we start with the Sixers stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, because I know you said that the game before we came on, there's like 2 minutes left. It seemed exciting, but breaking news: the Sixers season might be saved. A player on the team has made the ultimate sacrifice. One that I don't see. We're built a little bit differently. I could never see giving up the game, but Paul George is stepping away from his podcast because he feels now is the time. It's February 26th. Now is the time to lock in and try to really begin competing for a championship for the 76ers. So, leaves a big opening in the podcasting world for us. So there's obviously some benefits to us for this, but are we worried at all that this is going to work for the Sixers? No, obviously not that. But he played well tonight, right?
He did play well tonight. They did end up losing that game to the Knicks. They covered and played hard, fought to the end, made a valiant comeback, and Paul George did have a nice second half. Obviously, Embiid's not playing. And the thing, like we said the other night, like, they're better without Embiid. Just having a normal center who can move, like, is going to make them better. So I'm like, it really shouldn't be that surprising. Again, we were
a center that doesn't start every defensive possession on the ground from the previous offensive possession.
Like you're not playing 4-on-5 anymore, and just that alone is going to help and make the team look better. And it did. Again, they competed in MSG, didn't get the win. But to me, the Sixers situation it's beyond parody. I couldn't believe this was real, that he said this stuff. I
thought it was Santel. R.I.P. Santel. Shout out Santel.
I just I can't. I'd be seething if I can't imagine rooting for this guy, being a Sixers fan. He's like, first of all, he's saying that he's going to stop podcasting so he can focus on rehabbing his injury and to lock in to help the team make a playoff and championship push. So that
team guy
is, like you said, they're 20 and I believe 38 now, 20 and 39. The season's over. He's had this finger injury all season. And so, the thing to me is the implication he's making by this announcement is that the podcast is somehow detracting from his ability to rehab his injury and to lock in on a playoff push.
Right, so he's basically saying this thing to almost seem like he's sacrificing something, but by saying it, he's being like,
exactly.
This has been making me not as good at basketball.
Right. Like, it's like just now he's deciding to focus on these things, as if there was something very easy he could have been doing all along to make those things better. He just wasn't doing it to podcast, whereas now he will be able to actually heal from his injury, which again, he supposedly has been dealing with all year. We've talked about it. He's taking these ridiculous pain injections. He's been in and out of the lineup, whatever. But again, now I just can't imagine now it'd be so funny if he just does go on an absolute heater the rest of the season, plays every game, his finger's suddenly healed, and it's just by stopping podcasting, he's just suddenly on peak Paul George again out of nowhere. It's just
a thing where the Sixers, it comes down the last game of the season for a shot in the play, and it's super dramatic, and Paul George just misses the game winner, but it's the lessons you learned along the way, Paul.
No, I would actually rather they make it the 10 seed, win the play-in, get to the playoffs, and they're so excited that he comes out and does a podcast, talking about how sick the end of the season was, and then they just get swept and he stinks again.
That'd be great.
But this is unreal. Every day it's something different with the Sixers, and it really is. They joke on their a lot of Sixers podcasts I listen to about the saying that wasn't on my bingo card. How people say that the phrase annoys them. It's a big talking point. But it is funny because with the Sixers, it's you can't possibly predict the next outrageous story.
It's
it could be
literally
anything.
Mad Libs.
could
It's
be
like
anything,
a Mad
yeah.
Libs of like what's happening. Like enter like part of body, length of time, and just it could be anything.
And everything you hear, you're like, well, surely like it can't get funnier than this. And
The
then they're
Paul
like,
George
"No,
thing I literally
can't."
thought was sent out when I saw because it was NBA Central that sent it, and I read the whole quote, and I thought like that's a hilarious Centel tweet, and it wasn't the Centel tweet. It's crazy.
It really is like absolutely mind blowing.
He did that like completely unaware.
Self-awareness.
Oh my god, dude. It's so good.
It's like did he just look around and take the temperature of the room and be like, oh fuck, like this is kind of a bad look, actually. Like,
dude, I wonder if he was getting like rate like I feel like Philly fans maybe they're just like giving it all like a shitty rating, just like fucking no stars or something like that. And he just got bullied into it. I have no idea. There's got to be a backstory. There's got to be some Twitter or some like Reddit forum about it, but it's crazy. It's just so
anyone in his life who could have an honest conversation with him and be like, dude, I know like you might not realize it, but you might not give a fuck, but like to the outside world, this couldn't possibly reflect any worse on you.
Yeah, hold on. I think just because we're talking about it a lot, I do want to see if I can just find that quote because it's absolutely hilarious. Oh yeah, it says breaking. Paul George is taking a break from podcast focus on championships. This is from his podcast. Quote, I want to let the podcast P family know that after today's episode with Dwight, I plan to take a break from the pod just to focus on getting my body right, getting mentally right, and, help this squad make a push towards our goal to finish the season out, give ourselves a chance to be in contention to compete for a championship. Like, the goal lines have moved. So at the start of the year, your goal was to win a championship. Now it's like, I just like to see maybe we could like rattle off like 3 or 4 wins, possibly make the play in. Like, just if we just do that, it's fine. It's like, oh my god, that quote is so unreal.
And it also is so funny because it makes me imagine that like the team is trying to get fired up in the locker room and doing like motivational speeches on the whiteboard and having like a players only meeting, and he's just in the corner on his laptop and like video editing and just like laughing, giggling to himself, like like clipping like scenes for his podcast, and just like, wait, what are you guys talking about over there? Like,
yeah.
Like it's actually like taking all this time and focus away from him, like all those like physically right, mentally right, and focus on winning. So like literally just like your job, like the only things the team wants you to do.
I'd love to go to my regular 9-to-5 job and just be like, just want you guys all to know here, like I'm gonna stop doing like clips for the podcast all day at work. Like I'm gonna really lock in.
It's just like what is the Sixers paying him for other than to be like right mentally and physically and like locked in and supporting the team? Like that's exactly the job. That's the whole job.
Look, for our ultimate goal to contend to attempt to be able to contend to maybe win a championship.
And by his own words, he's saying that the podcast is at least in part taking away from his ability to do those 3 things, which is just absolutely incredible. Never seen anything like it. Never seen anything like it, truly.
All right, let's go on for the Sixers.
No, we can't. That's the thing, because I don't even know if that's the most ridiculous Sixers thing. The Embiid situation just gets crazier and crazier by the day.
Did I see a meniscus replacement?
So that
was that from a dead guy's meniscus?
So basically, from what I can gather, it seems like they're just going through every doctor until someone is willing to give him like any solution, because seriously, I think at this point his knees are just so degenerative. They've had so many surgeries and they're like whatever. They're just shot. Like there's nothing you can do.
I didn't know about the treatments
they're talking about are things that have like they're saying like no one's ever tried it, like literally. And so the meniscus transplant thing, whatever that is, I'm pretty sure, I don't know like the medical term for it, but that's basically what Lonzo Ball had. And if you recall, he was out for 2 full years, and even now, like doesn't play back-to-backs, like isn't the same player or whatever. And he's like a small skill guy, not a fucking behemoth. So I also was hearing today that their follow-up reporting on that is that this isn't an option because they can't find a human being with a meniscus that will fit and support like what he needs it to do. Like literally, there just aren't people that big, because that would require someone's meniscus. So that's not even an option. So they're talking about like
take 2 meniscuses.
At this point, it sounds like they're open to anything.
Completely reinforce that meniscus.
Radiation options they're talking about. There's something called like an osteoscopy or something, which is like I don't know how this works, but there's something where the idea is to literally break his hip
Oh
on
yeah,
purpose
to like
try
make
to like
it.
heal it back in like a better way or something. So
Yeah.
that's where he's at. So there's a nice really update on the Sixers 2 max players who are both signed for 3 and 4 more seasons respectively, that they both have just
Oh
awesome
boy.
things going on.
Oh boy.
And like this one is getting to the point where it's almost like not even funny anymore. It's just sad.
Well,
I
the
do
Embiid
like
one is kind of shitty because it's like, like it's like it is degenerate, but he also just throws his body around too. Like he doesn't do himself any favors. But
well no,
obviously his is tough as its injuries. The
definitely
Paul
not.
George one is
It's
way
more
fun.
fun to root for just them to like fuck themselves and do stupid shit. Then obviously you don't want them to be hurt. And at this
It
point,
was fun.
this point he
beating
might like
them.
retire. Like he genuinely, I don't think anyone would be shocked if they're just like, 'cause,
That
I mean, yeah, what, if he has to get some procedure and he's not gonna, he's gonna be out for 2 seasons. Like we're really gonna believe he's gonna rehab and come back. Like I think at that point, it's just like it might like literally just be over, which is crazy to think. But like it isn't really. If you watch it and read everything that's happening, it's like not that crazy.
No.
But it's just again crazy to think.
Anytime they're talking about finding a dead guy with a giant meniscus to help you or snapping your own hip in order to help you, you are not in a very good spot. So I mean, obviously injuries suck. So I don't want to poke too much fun at that, but those are some tough options. Or the other one is radiation. That's like Or there's another option that's radiation. Okay.
Yeah. No, I mean, I talked about the Sixers podcast I listened to before, and at this point, they're all moving on, and they're like the Embiid, like what's the next era of Sixers basketball? Like we're a rebuilding team now.
The thing is, the best thing that happened for Philly fans, obviously, they won the Super Bowl. So now I feel like you can take a more sober-eyed look at your other team. Like, I feel like once like the Celtics won, I kind of like with the Patriots, it was just kind of like, all right, like what? I'm just gonna wait to see what the Drake. It's like you almost get like a rejuvenation, and when you get one championship with another thing. This other team you really like, you can kind of be like, all right, I'm okay with you guys like figuring out whatever shit we need to figure out. Let's rip the Band-Aid off. So maybe it's bad that it's happening, but
and they also, I mean,
their downfall. But
that's a nice way to put it. But that's also like they don't have a choice. They're just completely fucked with the guys they have and how long they're signed in for how much money. Like,
all right,
there's nothing you can do.
All right. We've been talking for about a long. This is a good Philly podcast. If you have any Philly fans,
Philly and Detroit,
shut them
good
up.
Philly.
Yeah.
If you like Pistons and Sixers basketball, this has been the podcast for you.
This has been a great pod for you.
In that same game, I did mention they went into MSG and it was a close game. No, we have to mention this because I fucking called this to a T. Guess who didn't play tonight? With a knee injury.
Embiid.
For the Knicks.
Stop doing this.
Who we just played.
Oh, Josh Hart. Oh, Cat.
Who came back into the game injured and now was out tonight.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I just got fried.
Yeah, sorry. Put you on the spot there. But again, I know we talked about this and I said, watch, he's going to fucking be out the next game. After one of the crazier, insane things I've seen where Tibbs putting him back in, down 18, hobbling around on one leg for literally no reason. And then he's out tonight. So again, obviously don't hope he's hurt, but just so classic Tibbs and like just what are you doing? Then the other thing last night, Luka playing against Dallas. Pretty wild scene. Nico, he was there in a blue Mavericks suit, walking around the court before the game, talking to Pelinka, not hiding certainly from it. He was showered with "Thank you, Nico" chants. Luka started off hot. He made a couple shots. He had 10 points in the first quarter. It looked like he might actually go nuclear. He didn't really have a great game after that. He put up big stats, but he finished only with like 19 points. He couldn't really get going. The Mavs actually played well, really good defense. And LeBron kind of needed to go nuclear in the fourth for the Lakers to pull out a win. So sucks that AD's hurt because this would already feel like a pretty cool, like fun rivalry. Obviously they play again in April. Hopefully he's back for that. But pretty surreal stuff to watch. Truly, it still is like hard to wrap your head around that it's
Luka was just chirping the Mavs bench. Was that where Nico Harrison sits by the bench or something? Like I figured they just sat in like a box because he was chirping the bench for like parts of that game, and there was just a ton of fun, like the Drewski like pointing at himself. It was just like Mavericks players being like,
I feel bad for players.
Like we didn't obviously we didn't want this. Like
right,
but even just I don't know if he's chirping like AD. That'd be crazy too. Like as if AD is like, bro, I was in fucking LA, dude. I have a show coming out, and I was in LA, and now I'm in fucking Dallas, dude.
Definitely didn't want that.
I had a show based on pranking. He has like a show Punked. He's like a punk
Yep.
show, right? He's like
Yeah.
pranking celebrities, and they just
Everyone
moved him
thought
to
the train
Dallas.
was the first, was the pilot. That was like,
Oh, that would have been great. That would have been great. Oh
yeah.
shit.
Starting to think that might not be the case though.
Nope. Seems pretty for real.
But yeah, also just a funny stat in the process. Luka, first game against Dallas, he did record a triple-double. He now has a triple-double against all 30 teams in the NBA, which is just hilarious. Can you
That's
guess?
insane.
There's 2 other players who have ever done that. They're both still playing.
They're both still playing.
Yep.
Is LeBron one of them?
Yep.
Russell Westbrook?
You got it.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
Whoa, that's a good rebound from the last one.
Yeah.
You put me on the spot.
Nice. I know. I was hoping you would at least get one of them. I figured the LeBron one was right there.
Oh man.
Westbrook's just obviously been on a million teams and always puts up
Yeah.
stats. So, but pretty crazy. Luka's definitely the only one to do it by 25. He's probably the only guy who's been good enough to possibly do that. That would change teams, but at such a young age. But just a funny stat. So,
yeah. All right.
good stuff.
Anything else on that, or should we do a little Cavs preview?
Yeah, let's talk some Cavs. I think that's good. A lot of other good action, but you're gonna have to catch up on it yourself.
Yeah. All right, so we come back Friday. I think it's like a 7-game homestand for us too. So we're gonna learn to win games at home. Cavs coming to town to start it up. Any injuries to note for the Cavs? We got the 2 guys they traded for the wings, DeAndre Hunter, and I forget the other guy's name, but
they signed Javonte Green.
Oh yeah, they didn't trade for him. They signed.
But DeAndre Hunter was a big trade, huge addition. They went out and made that move specifically for the Celtics to get some wing depth in there. Darius Garland has missed the last few games. He's questionable, and they did say he hopes to return Friday night. So they should be at pretty much full health. Hopefully, obviously, the Celtics will be too. We'll see. Again, we don't know what's going on with Luke. Jalen was questionable tonight after the little scare last night, so hopefully that's a good sign. Would be fun to see both teams at full strength. And I'm excited to see, what this Cavs team looks like. Now the Hunter move is a big addition. Getting rid of LeVert, they had to do it, but he was having a good year, and it feels like he's a bit of a Celtics killer, so we'll see how that works out. It creates some interesting things, too, where if Garland plays, they have a hard time against us with those 2 small guards, and they've looked kind of better with Hunter, Wade, Strus, some of those other guys in there, but obviously they're not going to sit, one of their all-star guards in a big spot. So talked about this every other time we play, where it's just a tough matchup for them. Very curious to see how the Hunter element changes that, if that can swing things. I mean, again, obviously I think will help them. We'll see how much it helps them, how much of a difference it makes, but I'm excited for this. And, on the very short list of games the rest of the way that I don't want to say matter, but
yeah, this is
matter a little more.
No, yeah, and this is a big one. And that might have been a little bit what tonight was too, a little bit of looking ahead, making sure everyone's good for that. But yeah, I'm excited for this matchup. So we've won here and there, right? And they've won where they are, but not here. So this is big. Yep. If they beat us here, this gives them a whole lot of confidence. So
definitely,
this is a team we're going to have to go and beat in Cleveland. So to kind of get them shook on our home court, stuff we want to see, and we got to learn to win some games at home. We haven't been playing as well at home. So
yeah.
I'm excited
we beat them
for
up
it.
Pretty good last time. It was the final score ended up being close, but that was a pretty, I feel decisive win, statement game where we kind of roughed them up. And again, they made that trade, I think the next day or two, when we came away from that game saying the big takeaway is just it's a really, really tough matchup for them, and a big reason why is they just don't have any real 3-and-D wings, and it's not like Hunter is some lockdown defender who's going to suddenly go out and shut down Tatum, but when you compare it to what they had, it's just again,
Tatum's numbers are pretty much defender. What his averages are. I remember I pointed that out it was a flex, but it's but he doesn't slow him down.
But that's what they needed. The Cavs, they didn't have anyone who was even competent. Now, even just having a solid guy who, again, no one's expecting him to shut him down, but at least now he's going to have to make him work. They really had no one to make him work. And we talked about, as good as the Cavs are, their offense is amazing, but it's a bunch of seals out there.
Has Javonte Green played for them yet since he got there? Or?
There's only been 1 or 2 games. I'm honestly not sure, but there's no reason that he wouldn't have, as much as he's going to play. So I'm sure he'll be out there. Obviously, former Celtic, good friend of Tatum's. Just should be a fun game. Should be an awesome game. Our last meeting ahead of well, if we play them again after this, it'll be almost
It'll be
certainly
in
the
the
Eastern Conference
playoffs.
Finals. So,
Whew.
yeah,
All right, let's get the win, boys.
I would like that.
All right, that about wraps this one up. So yeah, again, the Celtics, I think it was 117-97 final score tonight. Against the Pistons. We'll see you guys back here on Friday. Make sure you follow the show on Twitter or on X, whatever you prefer to call it. At Chuddy's Corner. Follow King Chuddy. He's at King Chuddy. Follow me, Dugouts. I'm at Doug_outs. Subscribe to the show. Follow our YouTube page. Hit the like button. Leave some comments. Engage. Interact. I meant to say this too. Calling all Chuddy heads as well. I'm thinking about ready to start taking user submissions for the Chuddy Bar Parlay. So anyone got any plays, just let us know. We got to get out of this. I need to just do something different. So I was trying to think of what I can do different. We'll talk more later. But
I like it.
There we are. That's the episode. We'll see everyone again on Friday. Take care.
Peace out, Chuddy heads.